Did you know that the largest arcade machine ever built is over 14 feet high and 6 feet wide? You're listening to the Xbox Hub Podcast, the official podcast of the TheXboxHub.com. For the latest Xbox news, reviews, videos and opinions, make sure you visit the TheXboxHub.com. But for now, settle down, get comfy, and open your ears for some podcast delights. Hello, and welcome to the Xbox Hub Official Podcast, episode number 88. My name's Gareth Brodie. I'm going to be your host. On my virtual left is Mr. James Burks. How you doing, James?
Hello there. I'm not too bad, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm better than last week, I'm afraid, because we had to cancel last week because I had food poisoning. Terrible.
Oh, no.
I know.
That's awful.
Yeah. So I apologise to everyone. We've missed 2 weeks, but we had loads of podcasts for the E3 stuff, so you've got loads to listen to. But on my virtual right is Mr. William Cariana. How you doing, William?
Not bad. Doing okay.
Good. How's it all going? How's Canada?
Things are going okay here. It's Canada Day today, so now granted there are some historical discoveries that also need to be ruminated upon. But yeah.
Happy Canada Day.
Thank you.
Did we have you on last time when it was Canada Day? I think we did, didn't we? Feels.
Yeah, I think you might have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Now, as we haven't been there, we're going to do a lot about some games we played, because we haven't really talked about any games we've been playing for about a month because of E3 and everything else. But what have we been up to this week? James, what have you been doing?
I've been watching a hell of a lot of telly. I mean, it's a great time at the moment for TV, because it seems like everything's coming back. You got Rick and Morty and The Flash, Harlequin. But surprisingly, the thing I've been most addicted to is Loki on Disney Plus. It's one of their mini-series, and it's quite a familiar idea behind it, because it's about altering the timelines and how certain decisions can really make big differences, shall we say, without spoiling too much. And it's about the people in charge of keeping the timeline in, well, how it should be, how they want it to be. And it's really interesting. It's a really good take on the time variant kind of setting, because we've seen it before in Legends of Tomorrow in DC. But Marvel's idea of it is it's good. It's really good so far.
And do you
I
think...
don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to wait till all 6 are out and then I'll watch them.
Mm.
And does it affect the whole sort of like the films? Does it really have a direct impact on the films? Do you think? Without saying anything, of course.
It's supposed to affect Phase 4.
Right.
But it's weird because obviously it's Loki, and we know he's in certain aspects of Endgame, that we saw a few years ago. But this is like before that. This is before that even ever happens. So I don't know how it's going to play out really.
Okay.
And that's the interesting thing, because they either do the whole thing where you go, it doesn't matter at the end, and it just has no effect.
It was all a dream.
Or, yeah, like a lot of programs do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good cameos as well. I won't spoil it, but I think the most surprising star in the show is Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson, one of the main characters, and it's really good to see him back at his best. Because I haven't seen him do anything decent for a few years now. But this is Owen Wilson at his peak, and I hope it leads to some more roles.
Yeah.
It's a really good job.
Okay, great. Loki.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'd recommend that, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, I'll get on that. William, what about you? What have you been doing?
I've been watching Loki as well. I think it's very good.
Oh, okay.
But then as well this week, I go into a grad school program. Well, on paper, I still need to do a couple of preliminary classes, but yeah, it's exciting.
As for the UK audience and for us, how does it work? Because it's a very different system than our UK education system. So where is grad school? What's the equivalent for here?
Okay, so there's you exit high school, and then there's 4 years of an undergraduate degree. Then there is graduate school. So for what I'm doing, it's a Master's of Marketing, which is basically MBA without the generalized stuff. So just full in on marketing.
Great.
And then after the Master's, there's your PhD and your postdoctorate.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, William. Thank you. You knew that, didn't you, James?
Yeah, obviously.
Good.
All makes sense.
Good. I've been watching another TV series I'm going to talk about briefly called Sweet Tooth, which is on that Netflix thing. And Sweet Tooth is based on a DC graphic novel series, kind of limited run. And I've read Sweet Tooth a long time ago, but I love Sweet Tooth, and it's based on this idea that there's an apocalyptic virus that wipes out quite a lot of the human race. But what happens in the middle of this apocalyptic virus, all the babies being born are hybrids, animal hybrids. So they're half goat, half human, or half a rabbit, or half human. So they all start to get bored, and then they're hated. They're blamed for the virus. So they're either killed and hunted, or they're going to hiding. And that's the kind of premise. Sweet Tooth is this kid who's half deer, so he's got antlers, and it follows his kind of journey at the beginning of the game. And what the Netflix has done a really interesting job, because what they've done is they've taken something that's the comic is so dark. It's so dark. It's like really gruesome and quite what they've done is look at it and go, we're not going to go down this route. We're going to keep the whole premise, but we're going to make it. It's much more like it's rated 12. It's much more like it feels like a teen drama a little bit, but it's really good. It's really, really good. It's a family. It's a really good, well written. I've really enjoyed it. I think they've done a really good job, and I love the comic series. And I'm looking forward to what happens next, the next series. Anyone you seen it, William or James?
Not seen it though.
No. Okay.
It just sounds interesting though.
Yeah, I'd give it a go. I think I'll really give it a go. It's really well shot as well.
I mean, it's a bit weird that a virus leads to these human-animal hybrids.
Mm.
And people get really desperate during the apocalypse. And that's handy.
Well, what's great about it at the moment is obviously they filmed it during COVID because it's in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And so they're really having fun with it. You can see them not having fun, but they're really, the sort of COVID comparisons are great. The way they talk about stuff, the way they kind of like, they've got the suspicions and all that stuff. So really, they obviously were in that point, and it's a big reference for that. Yeah, it's good. Let's talk about games straight away, because we haven't talked about games we've been playing for a long time in the last month. So we might be going back a bit. I'm going to start us off. Do you mind? No, James, you start us off. You've done nothing. No.
Please, you go.
You talk. I want to hear about the brilliant games you've been playing.
I mean, I'm going to really bring the mood down here.
Good.
One of the games I'm playing and reviewing is Gold Rush the game, based on the popular TV series Gold Rush, which I'm sure everyone's seen, apart from me. And basically, in simplified terms, it's a gold mining simulator. So you're mining for gold. So imagine a farming game, but all the machinery in that is in relation to gold. You get your excavators and your hog pans and your shakers, all these good terms.
Right.
And you just got to find gold and then smelt it into gold bars and sell them to make money.
This sounds great.
Does it though? When you're trying to set all the actual mining systems in place, bit by bit, it's horrendously poor. It's a really bad game.
Is
must say.
Is it poor because it's a fiddly sim, or is it?
It's very fiddly
Yeah.
with ragdoll physics.
Oh god.
So you're putting stuff in the back of your truck. It's bouncing out as you're driving. And no joke, you can walk down the street and there's a loading screen within 2 seconds.
Wow.
I get a freeze up, and it could actually just freeze the whole game and not work. It looks terrible, it plays terrible, and even the tutorial, it's so in depth. It takes. I think it took me 5 or 6 hours
For the
tutorial, and by the end I still had no idea how to really.
Well, because you've forgotten what happened at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It takes so long to do every little thing.
I know.
And it's just a nightmare.
Is it a not very good PC port as well?
Exactly. There's a lot of finicky controls. It's like when you get into a car or a vehicle, you've got to turn the engine on first and take the handbrake off every time.
Oh,
it's really in depth.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't mind that if it wasn't so irritating to use the machinery and try and be precise. It's like.
Yeah, I think the problem. I think at the moment, because there hasn't been, it feels this way a little bit because we've had a lot of delays with games because of COVID. It feels like they're porting a lot of PC or a lot of mobile games or a lot of Switch games over, and the ones I reviewed recently just don't feel complete in that sense. Especially the sim games. It feels really, some of it just doesn't work, or some of it is really hard to move or control. Yeah.
When you've got a lot of different vehicles. And they've all got different controllers. I mean, you can bring up the menu to show the controls, but it's never intuitive.
Yeah.
Everything feels like new. And even the characters that you've got, you can't walk up a simple 1 centimetre step. You've got to jump. It's like a platformer.
I like the sound of this.
I mean, it's really bad. It's so bad.
Brilliant. Okay.
Don't buy it, guys.
Oh yeah, don't buy it.
Don't buy it.
William's been playing. William, what have you been playing? You've been playing quite a new game, haven't you?
Well, I have been playing Drive to San Francisco, and this game is fantastic. I love it. It really is just exciting and fun. It's got a surprisingly good story, and hardly anyone listening to this podcast will ever be able to play it. And that is the unfortunate part of this. This game is part of the backwards compatibility program, but it was delisted 5 years ago. So the only way to play this is if you have bought it already on the 360, or if you have a disc version. And I managed to find a disc version for $30 at the local thrift store, which was amazing because this game typically tends to go for 70 and up here. And really, if you can get your hands on it, it's a wonderful game. It's sort of Grand Theft Auto-esque, but you never really leave the car. It's got Forza Horizon type elements in this, even though this one technically predated it. It's a fantastic game, and probably one of the best Ubisoft has ever made. So,
could you, if I'm trying to remember right, could you get out of the car and walk around like GTA?
No, you can't. You could in some of the other driver games, I think, but in this one, the whole gimmick is you end up in an accident and you wake up with these mystical powers and you can sort of take over people's bodies, Invasion of the Body Snatchers type way. And so you can sort of ghost jump into their bodies and then cars and sort of, come up, set traps for the poops you're chasing. You're technically a cop in this and everything.
I remember this, yeah. Oh, good. I used to love the driver games. I mean, they were just so ahead of their time when they first came out. It was just like amazing. Good. Okay. Now, I played a few weeks back, which we're going to talk about before. I can't say it. Chivalry 2? Have I said that right, James?
Chivalry.
Good. Chivalry 2, which I reviewed for the site. And the game is a multiplayer only. It's sort of like a team attack medieval fighter. So what you do is you choose your you could be a knight, you could be a sort of like enforcer type character, you could be an archer, or you can be a sort of like pikeman with a long spear. And so there's 4 kind of systems to choose, and then you either do a sort of team based game where it's like team objectives. You have objectives either to defend or to attack, or you can do a free for all at the moment, like everyone against each other in a kind of like an arena, like a gladiator arena, but with traps like spears, or pits that you could fall down, or like fire flying at you. And when I first got the game, I thought, this isn't going to be fun. This isn't going to be for me. But do you know what? It's really, really good fun. And it didn't get boring. There isn't that many modes at the moment. There isn't that many maps, but it's a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun hacking at people. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's quite funny. It's almost Monty Python with people lobbing each other's limbs off and then shouting abuse at each other. But it plays really well, and I really enjoy myself with it. I think it's a sort of like a little bit of a sleeper. I do hope it carries on and people carry on playing it. And it doesn't die a death with these multiplayer games when new shinier things come along. But yeah, it's good fun. Good fun. Is it? I didn't know. I think it was 30 quid or something. Maybe I'll have a look.
That could put people off.
Yeah, maybe it's $24.99. I can't. Yeah, I'll have a look. Well, James, you talk about your game, your next one, and I'll have a look.
Oh, it's a bit weird, my next game, because one, it's a PC game, which I rarely play, and it's not really a game, but I'll talk about it anyway.
Right. Okay.
It's a game / learning experience, and it's called Influent, and there's a free version and a paid version, and basically you go into a fully interactive environment, where every object in the room you can click on, and as you click on it, it says out loud what it is in a certain language.
Right.
So, and in the free edition, you can get French, Italian, or Korean. That's what drew me in, you see. So if you click on a door, it'd say door in Korean.
Which is?
And, now you put me in the spot. I think it's run.
Oh.
I think.
Okay.
Christ, I hope that's right. But yeah, and it stores all the words, and you'll get related adjectives and verbs, and then you can do mini games with the words where you've got to try and find the items in this house. So it's all one big learning experience.
Wow.
And there's loads of words to find within one house.
That's a good idea. It's a good way of doing it, I think.
Yeah, because it is like when you learn when you're younger. Because you learn by hearing words and seeing what's being said. You know what I mean? You see it and you hear the word. So it's quite similar to that. I find it really useful. And the audio is proper native pronunciations. So you hear exactly how to say it. Like I say, it's free for those languages. And you can pay for Japanese, Swedish, Spanish. There's loads.
Great.
And that's on Steam.
Steam. Very good. Influent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
William, have you got another game you've been playing, or is it just me?
I think it's just you this week.
Just me, isn't it? I'm the only one been playing games.
I've played more than William.
That's unbelievable. I reviewed really briefly, I think it's out on the Xbox Hub. It came out last week. Dark Alliance, Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance, which is on Game Pass. And it's a single player and a co-op player hack and slash kind of dungeon adventure. Dungeons and Dragons fans will know it's based on some Dungeons and Dragons novels from the 1980s, the Crystal Shard collection, I think. And it has those characters. You've got a archer, a sort of assassin thief character, and 2 sort of tanks, a dwarven fighter and kind of human fighter. And you go along, you get a little hub at the beginning, like a little campfire, and then you all get your upgrades, your treasure, you share out from your last mission, and then you go and off and do it. And you know what? It's got quite a bit of stick. People have not reviewed it. Some people reviewed it quite unkindly. Some people have reviewed it okay. But I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with it in single player. It was fine. It did get a bit repetitive after a while. But when you get a few people together, or you just join, I joined randoms online, and it was good fun. It was really good with a group of people, and you all combine together, especially when you get the boss characters, which happens at the end of each level. It's good to sort of like try to work out how to take them out. If you're doing it with friends, it's worth it. It's nothing unique or nothing new. It looks at times like a 360 thing. Well, no, that's unfair. It looks like an Xbox One, the first stage of Xbox One kind of game, and it's it's good fun. And if it's on Game Pass, it's worth just getting a few people together and having a go at it. Yeah, I think it's a good little fun hack and slasher.
I did see the terrible scores for some place they're giving it, and I thought that does seem a bit harsh, even from the little bits that I've seen playing online, on Twitch and that.
Yeah, definitely. I think the problem is they released the codes, and I think there were some glitches in it that they solved before they released. I got a big update, and it was all fine. It was a bit sort of like, I think things would just fly off, or you couldn't complete a certain level, but that's all fine now. So that might have something to do with it. I think some of them were saying how janky and glitchy it was, but yeah, I didn't have any problems. Yeah, it's worth it. It's good. And the last one I'm going to talk about is a game that I reviewed. I think it's about £4. Chivalry is 30 quid. This one is called Promisa, Promesa, and I think it's about £4 on the store, £4.19 or something, and it's made by an Italian artist from sort of an Italian art collective in Milan, and what all you do in the game is you walk through. It's based on the conversations he had with his grandfather, and it was almost like fragments of memories between the two of them, grandson and grandfather, about the past and about the present, about you living where you lived when you were a child, going back, and you're just sort of travelling through this this kind of journey. You're not doing anything. You're not interacting with anything. You're just being a walking sim in that sense. You're just moving through, and you're moving through very slowly. And they say to you at the start, it's a 45-minute walkthrough, but there'll be lots of other scenes to find after you've done a walkthrough. You have a different kind of walkthrough which you do, and it's like the sound is the best sound I've ever heard. So you play it with headphones. The soundtrack's amazing, and just the effects and everything. But it's like going to an art gallery and go and see an installation for £4. That's what it's like. And I really liked it. I thought it was great. Other people were just going to go, what is this? This is not for me. But I thought it was great. But I really liked it because it was about experimentation. It's about having the big hitters doing their thing, and then having a game like this that can fit into the store and go out and be released for £4. And, hopefully some people will play it. Some people won't. It's worth taking a little risk on. But yeah, it's good. Give it a shout out. That's enough of me talking. That's all the games. Let's talk about some news. William, tell us about Sony. What they've been doing. They've been copying Xbox.
Oh, on to news?
Yep. Yeah, let's do it.
Sure. So, Sony has had an interesting, busy week. They have bought a couple of studios at least. So, it started out with the announcement that they have bought Housemarque, who were the developers of Returnal, Resogun, Helldivers, those games. And Returnal was received quite well, and, this is a good step. They're going to do more ambitious things, apparently. Then Sony Japan tweeted out that they had acquired Bluepoint and then deleted it immediately. Now, people took this as Bluepoint being acquired for obvious reasons, but then Bluepoint went out and said, no, we're fully independent. We don't know what's going on here. Are they now, whether or not they are trying to, try and hide the surprise, or if it genuinely was a deal that fell through, we won't know fully. Hopefully when we get a date for the next event, we might see it there. And then finally this morning, they bought Nixies, who is a support and PC porting developer. They primarily worked with Square Enix and with mostly with their Western division. So, they did the ports for Avengers. They did the ports for Tomb Raider. They also did the 360 port of Rise of the Tomb Raider, which was quite impressive. So the prevailing theory is this is either to have them develop PC games, or it's to develop the PS4 versions of games like Gran Turismo 7 and God of War to make them more playable. But yeah, this has been 3. Oh, sorry. And then Dealu Gaming, who is a member of the Xbox community, who supposedly has some sources, says that they may have bought Arc System Works as well. So that's 4 in a week if all of these go through, which is nuts.
Yeah.
We haven't seen it since Xbox bought their 5.
No, it's, Bluepoint Games, if people don't know who, they've basically been doing a lot of the kind of remakes. They did Demon's Souls, didn't they? Is that right? For the PS5?
Yeah, the Demon's Souls remake, the Shadow of the Colossus remake. Yeah,
it's interesting. I think it's really interesting because I think after Bethesda and the Xbox, I think a lot of PlayStation people were unhappy, especially with the Starfield coming out. So I think Sony probably had to do something, didn't they? Make a statement.
Yeah. And what was it? I found this a little funny. Herman Hulst went out there and said, we only buy studios that we have pre-existing relationships with. That's why we bought Housemarque. And then turned around and bought Nixies, which was a Square Enix associate studio like the day after. But yeah, no, they're buying. It's a seller's market right now. And, Tencent, Embracer, and of course Microsoft aren't out of the fight yet. But yeah, these are big acquisitions. They're really good studios, and I think Sony is going to do wonders for them, and they'll do wonders for Sony.
I'm going to ask this to both of you. Do you think Sony will be looking? I know they've got the equivalent of Game Pass for Sony. Do you think what have they got? What have they got at the moment? There's something you can pay money for, isn't it?
Yeah, it's PS Now. It's a cloud service. It's primarily PS3 games.
Right.
They've got some good stuff there. Now, a lot of their stuff was Bethesda, which isn't helping.
No.
But
no.
Yeah.
James, do you think they might go for something like that? Do you think they'll be looking at buying these companies? Do you think they might go, okay, we need something as well that we know we're going to have the next Bluepoint or next Housemarque game that will come to their service?
I'm not sure, because like you say, they've got PS Now, and I think they're probably satisfied with that. And it's a case of just getting more exclusives tied down. And they don't even need a Game Pass, really. Because those games will sell instantly once they get in the market. As they've seen with recent games like Returnal, Ratchet and Clank. The big games, they don't need to necessarily go onto a service.
Yeah.
Because they seem to put a lot of time to a game. So once it comes out, the hype's at an all-time high, and usually it pays off, as in the game is worth the money. I think they're happy with that system. I don't.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think it's a really interesting thing, isn't it? Because you don't need to, with PlayStation or Xbox in a sense, sell consoles because you can't get a console still. So there isn't a great rush at the moment, is there, to do that?
It's a tough question, because the thing about Game Pass, the reason that one works as well as it does economically, etc., is because Microsoft can afford to eat the cost. They're a $2 trillion company. They are sitting back going, we need a return on investment today. We need a return on investment now. They're sitting back going, if this pays off in 10 years like Netflix did, it was worth our time and money. Yep. And if it isn't, then at least we spent less than Windows Phone. So, they are in a position to do this. And I don't necessarily think that Sony is in a position to do this on this level, And Jim Ryan, now granted Jim Ryan has said things that don't pan out all the bloody time, but he went out and he said, this isn't necessarily sustainable for us. And if you look at their games, I get it to an extent. I got Ratchet and Clank. It was a good game. It was a very good game. I platinumed it in 9 hours. If you need to keep people subscribed to a subscription service, a 9-hour marquee title isn't necessarily going to do it unless you've got a lot of them. And they don't have the capacity for that. Even with these acquisitions, that brings them up to 18 studios compared to Microsoft's 23 and counting. And then if you look at the games Microsoft makes, Sea of Thieves, Halo Infinite, these massive RPGs coming like Avowed and Fable and Elder Scrolls and Starfield, these are the sort of games that keep Forza Horizon. These are the sort of games that keep people subscribed for months because games you drop 8 hours or 10 hours into, they're the games that you can quite literally drop upwards of 1,000 hours into. And so I think that's going to be the key difference here. Yeah. And I don't necessarily want to see Sony pivot to that style of game. I think what they're doing is great right now, but what they're doing doesn't necessarily fit a subscription model.
Good. Microsoft, do we think they're going to have any more acquisitions? What else could they get?
Probably. I mean, Matt Booty said that they're looking. Satya Nadella says, who's the CEO of Microsoft, said that they're all in on gaming. And the big thing is their fiscal year starts today. And that means that they are reevaluating the budgets and saying things out. Now, last year when the fiscal year started, about a month after they released a report, and they said, guys, we're going to be spending money on studios. And what we didn't know is right when their fiscal year started, they called it, Bethesda called them up and they started talking. And 2 months later, they own Bethesda. So, I keep an eye on this.
Which would be a big studio? Which one would be the one, you think? What would be another massive one for them? James, any ideas?
I'm still holding out for Sega.
Sega.
That's my guess at the E3.
Yeah.
It'll come to eventually.
Get them eventually.
I'll wait.
Yeah.
As long as it takes.
William, what do you think?
Trust me, I want Sega. Warner Brothers Games is going through some upheaval right now. They might be selling off some studios. Though, if you ask me which one I think has a high likelihood, I'm actually going to say IO Interactive. I think they're the ones to watch. If Microsoft can go to Square Enix, if they can buy the Hitman intellectual property, and then buy IO Interactive, I think that would be big for them, That would get Untitled Project under them, that gets Hitman under them, it gives them exclusivity for the Bond game.
Yeah.
That'd be big.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's huge.
Yeah, good. Kojima, when he's not being worried about 9/11 and depression, talk us through what he's done with Microsoft.
Okay, so Hideo Kojima and Microsoft have been in talks for a while now, and according to this article from Jeff Grubb that went live 10 minutes into when we started, Kojima and Microsoft have signed the deal. They've signed the letter of intent, and Kojima's next game will be under Microsoft. So this is supposedly a cloud game. Last week they hired Kim Swift, who was the designer of Portal, to help developers move to cloud games, and supposedly her first project will be with Kojima. And so this is actually really interesting. This is going to be something like, I guess on the less positive side, Crackdown 3, or on the way more positive side, Flight Simulator, where they're really going to try and make use of the cloud here.
Good. I love a bit of Kojima. Big fan of Kojima. Kid, you excited about Kojima? Microsoft?
I'm going to be honest. I can't think of a single game that I've played of Kojima's that I've actually played for more than like an hour. It's not really for me, I don't think.
No.
I can never get into Metal Gear. So, yeah, I don't mind though. Whatever he does, I'll give it a look.
Yeah, I think it's such an experimental. I've said before, Death Stranding, I'm the one who loved that game.
I wish that was an Xbox.
Yeah.
How good that would go.
Yeah.
It just looked really bizarre.
It's great.
But intriguing.
Great. A lot of people hate it, but it's good. Let's talk about the Konami and the Blooper team. Is it Blooper? How do you say it? Blooper?
Yep. Yeah, Blooper.
Blooper. What are they doing? Are they partners now, I think, aren't they?
Yes, they are. And Blooper team is making a massive game that supposedly costs more than the entire worth of their company, is hiring for combat, and is in a AAA horror series. I think we can put together what this is going to be.
Yeah. It's a big Silent Hill rumor market, and I think it's people on the internet are crying or in celebration.
And the funniest thing is that Blooper, of course, has a relationship with Microsoft. This could be timed exclusive, which, after all these talks of Kojima coming to make a PlayStation exclusive Silent Hill, Kojima's with Xbox, and maybe Silent Hill is too, which is just funny.
Yeah, it's good. We're just reporting on lots of kind of business meetings, really, aren't we? Which is which is good.
It's a good thing, it's at the moment.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? We did have a good E3 though. Come on, we had loads of stuff. PlayStation. It's PlayStation Plus games are out. We've got Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Which one was that one? I can't remember that one at all. Is that one last year?
It's the fourth one.
It's the fourth one.
Black Ops series.
That was the one that was only multiplayer, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
They brought the campaign back for Cold War last year.
Right. And there's
It's a weird choice then.
Yeah.
To bring back a multiplayer game after all this time. But it's probably dead. Because whoever's playing that is probably playing Warzone now. It's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
WWE 2K Battlegrounds, James, is this a good game? I can't remember. They're all bad, aren't they? Is this as bad as the rest?
It's fun for free. Get a couple of mates round and play it and give it a go. But it's not great.
Good.
Set it out for an hour.
It's free. Yeah, it's good. And then, which we talked about last time, A Plague Tale Innocence, the PS5 game, which is free, which is really good. But that also is coming to Xbox Game Pass, I think, mid of this month. Maybe
The Series X version.
Yeah,
Is
as
it?
well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love that game. We talked about it last time. It's a fantastic game. You've got to play it. William loves it as well. He's annoyed with me because I don't give it 5 stars.
I think everyone loves it apart from me.
William, will you
Never
play?
played it.
William, will you play it again?
I will claim it on the PS5. I don't think I'm going to play it again yet because I want to wait for Requiem. So, by the time I get around to Requiem, it will have been 2.5 years between when I first played Plague Tale. And so I might not remember the story as much, and then I'll play it again then.
Yeah.
But if you haven't played it, decent game.
I might play the first half an hour or something, because just to see what it looks like, see the difference.
Yeah.
Good. Xbox new games for Gold for July. I don't know any of these games. James, talk us through this. Have you played any of these?
I have all of them, I think. I don't know what they are. It's Planet Alpha. That's like is it surviving on a planet, I think?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of vibe.
Yeah.
You've got people hunting you down. Not people, but enemies. The Rock of Ages 3, which is a tower defense game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Apparently it's quite Monty Python-esque. I've not played it myself, so I don't know. And then there's an Xbox game, Conquer and Live and Reloaded.
Yeah.
Do you know what? If it had achievements, I'd play it.
Yeah.
I really would. They should retrospectively put some achievements in. It'd be great for the games. You get a whole new lease of life. And then Midway Arcade Origins, which is 30 arcade classics.
That's all right.
Or more than 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some decent ones in there.
Yeah.
Like Spy Hunter, Rampage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Marble Madness.
Yeah.
I couldn't list them all, but I won't.
No, don't do that, thank God. Let's talk about... No, it's all right. There's two releases. We were going to talk about this last week, but we didn't. It just came out of nowhere. The Aliens game, the Aliens Fireteam game, that's coming out in August, which was quite a surprise actually. Which looks, it could be good, it could be terrible. That's all I can say. It could be absolutely terrible, but some people like it. Will you two like it? You looking forward to this?
I don't think they're reinventing the wheel.
It looks... Sorry.
No, go on,
It looks pretty decent.
Okay. You've heard it. Sorry, William.
Sorry again. There is something exciting about it, though. This is being published by Focus Home, who did Plague Tale, of course. But the bigger thing is, for years, Sega has had the exclusive license to Alien, and now they no longer do. So that means we might see some more Alien games from other studios and groups as well. Be that Ubisoft, Sony, Microsoft, Focus. Cool.
Yeah. I think the best Alien game for me was Alien Isolation. And I think it's really hard. And the reason that was good is because you had one alien hunting you. That's why I liked it. But, it's going to be fine. It's a co-op game. It's a co-op shooty aliens. Paul will like it. Now, let's talk about the Ghost of Tsushima. Director's Cut is coming out in August as well. I can't remember the date. So I look at the date. August 20th. Yeah. It's a PS5 version, but this is coming out, and it's also got a new bit of DLC, which is this expansion. You go to a new island, and yeah, I really enjoyed that game. I really had good fun with it when it came out. I think it came out last August, didn't it? And for people who haven't played it, it was a very pretty looking game on the PS4. We talked about it here, but it's going to look great on the PS5. I don't know if I would go back for some reason. I don't know why. Did you play it, William? I can't remember.
I adored it.
It was great, wasn't it? We talked about it, didn't we? We talked about it on here quite a bit, yeah. Would you go back, William?
Yeah, I'll go back to play the DLC. $40 is a bit of an expensive cost for an upgrade, but if it's worthwhile, then great. The original game is fantastic, and I just hope this expansion lives up to it.
If it was about 8 hours or something, the expansion, I would kind of go, maybe. If it's not that big. It might be a big chunk. If it's a big chunk, I would go back. Elder Scrolls 6, it's at the design phase, which was on the interviews means. When do you think this is coming out? 2025?
2025, yeah.
GTA 6, 2025 as well? Which is the rumours going on this week.
Well, let's think of it this way. Elder Scrolls 6, it's been 6... It will have been, 6 years now? 7 by the time Starfield launches, between Starfield and Fallout 4. There was 76 in between, but that was mostly the Austin team.
Yeah.
And I think the reason for that is they've really been investing in the creation engine. They're doing this creation engine to have far better animation, graphics, less bugs, etc. And they said that that's sort of the framework to build Starfield and Elder Scrolls off of. I think it's a fair assumption now that the tech is done there, once Starfield is out, that they can get Elder Scrolls out in their usual 3-year time frame.
Yeah.
Now, am I happy that I've waited this long? I mean, I played Skyrim when I was 12 years old. I'll be playing this when I'm 26, 27. I've waited more than half my life for this bloody game, so no pressure, Todd. But
you will have Starfield to give you the bit between. Yeah.
And the Bound and Fable, and the NX game, so we're doing good.
And maybe James might have finished Skyrim by then.
I doubt it. We need a couple of decades.
Let's just talk about this really quickly. This is I was kind of interested in this one. EA and Smite, they signed this deal to potentially bring TV-style commercials to games. So here's the idea behind this, and you know a bit more about this on mobile, don't you, James? That you players, people have got the choice then to watch the 15 or like 30-second ad, and then in exchange you get sort of like perks in the game. So if it was FIFA, what would you get? You might get a pack to open on the whole team.
Or some coins.
All right.
Yeah, it might be a case of, here's this pack, you're 100 coins short, why not watch this video to get them coins? And then it'll be the advert that they've obviously got a lot of money for, which I'm sure it will make a fortune having adverts in something like FIFA. But they're very annoying, the adverts. If they're optional, then I don't really see it's much of a problem. At the end of the day, if you want to it, you watch it. If you don't, just ignore it. But it's better than what they did with UFC.
What did
UFC getting it?
What happened there?
Put the advert, I think it was in between the rounds, and you had to see it. And they actually did that after launch. So I reviewed it, I think I reviewed it, and it wasn't in the game at the start. And then a week or two later, they put it into the game, and I was like, wow, that's a cheap move. So no one really know about it, in the reviews or whatever. But yeah, it's a proper failed advert. I think it was Amazon Prime.
Wow.
Something like that at the time.
William,
it's irritating.
What do you think, William? Do you think this is not a problem? This is just like, if people want it, they want it. They don't, they don't.
This is a tough one, and of course I'm going into a marketing program. I have a Bachelor of Commerce in Marketing, which makes it funnier. But from that point of view, I see there is an opportunity here. And, if this is done fairly, if it's like in a free-to-play game, watch an ad to, I don't know, unlock a skin or something like that. I don't necessarily have a problem with that, but when people are paying upwards of, in countries like Canada and Australia in particular, paying over $100 for a game, and then they turn around and put this in there, and the microtransactions and the boxes, it's asking way too much of the audience, and I think they have a right to be upset about that. So I think it's going to come down to implementation, and the biggest thing is it's going to need to be optional. It's going to need to be for something that isn't going to be pay to win. It shouldn't be something that you want to jump into a match and all of a sudden you've got an ad playing before you, especially if you've paid full price for the game. But it's an idea. It's something that could work, I guess. But I don't know. I much prefer product placement, if I'm being honest. I think that's pretty harmless and inoffensive comparatively. This is a step. Sure.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Because part of me, my alarm bells go off from this. I mean, it's really interesting with EA, with FIFA. FIFA have done this thing because they've had criticism about Ultimate Team and the gambling with their packs for Ultimate Team. They've done a thing in the last couple of weeks, which is preview packs, so you can basically go on the pack, see what's in there, and then make a decision whether to buy it or not. And that's something they were trialing, I think, weren't they, James? Is that right? They were just giving it a go for a while. I don't know how they're going to carry it on for next year.
Yeah, I think it's probably until the new game comes out, and then they'll decide whether it's beneficial for them money-wise. Because, I mean, if it's anything to go by what I've seen in my packs, I won't spend a penny. It was horrendous.
Yeah. Maybe it might be like at the start of the new game, it might be a bit more, people will go, oh yeah, look at that, because they just need more, don't they? Where we are now, they just want super duper players, don't they? So it's like, at the beginning, maybe they might do it. But that again gives you a choice, isn't it? The idea is it's saying to you, you've got a choice now. That's yours. It's up to you what you want to do. We're giving you all the tools on the thing. It's up to you whether you're going to spend that money. I think most 14-year-olds and most 16-year-olds will press and watch the ad, or just watch it and not really look at it, because they're trying to get that. I don't know if that's right. I don't know. I mean, part of me thinks of the advertising, like William just said about product placement. Mm-hmm. Maybe you do something with the games you play, and you can say, yes, I'll have the ad boards when you're playing FIFA, which has basically adverts for FIFA on it, which is mad. You'd have the option to go, okay, you could have some extra thing if we put the ad boards on it. It wouldn't feel horrendous then, would it? It would be part of the game rather than watching something.
Yeah, because you'll see it.
They can actually sort of increase immersion to an extent through some of these, I mean.
Yeah.
In those cases, like, again, I'm playing Driver and they've got ads for bows and other things. I'm like, yeah, that's interesting,
Yeah.
I mean, great. Nobody's going to be buying an 11-year-old's Bose speaker now, but it's still a cool product of its time.
Didn't Burnout have Vote Obama at one of the things? Burnout 3.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's going to be. I think it's going to just be. It'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. But I think the biggest thing is you're spending a lot of money on FIFA, and people will spend, like you said, here it's going to be like for the new consoles when it comes out in September or October, it's going to be what, 70 quid, and if you're going to get a Champions Edition, it's going to be 90 quid. So you're looking at Williams' prices, $120, $130, and then generally people will buy Ultimate Team packs over that year. So generally people might be spending up to £200, £300 on the game, won't they?
And then they want more money from the advert.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
Like William said, it makes more sense with the free-to-play games.
Yeah.
Like Smite. You can understand them having to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, though, optional, I think is the only way to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they force it, definitely a lot of backlash.
Yeah.
After optional.
And we've got EA Play's going to be happening July the 22nd, I think. Well, we've got some details about that. Is that right, James? You got those?
I haven't seen anything, no.
William, have you got anything?
Yes, I do.
Oh,
so
good.
this was just announced through the Wario64 account. He's saying it will be 40 minutes and will feature Battlefield, Apex, Lost in Random, which was one of the EA originals they showed off last year. It's looking pretty decent, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Then a couple of other surprises. So make of that last line what you will. It's not just going to be Battlefield and Apex.
What do we think?
A new FIFA.
Maybe.
Yeah.
What would it be?
Dead Space and Dragon Age are my guesses.
Yeah, Dragon Age. I forgot about Dragon Age. That's coming. We know that's coming. So we could do a bit
And
more.
They said Skate is coming. I don't think that one's ready. They're hiring pretty, like a lot of people for that one. But maybe something's ready to show. I don't know.
Do you know what I would like? Unravel 3.
That'd be nice.
I like that game.
Peggle 3.
Peggle 3. There you go. That's what we want. That's what we need. Yeah.
That's what we all need right now.
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah, so that'd be just 22nd. That's our next conference. Gentlemen, I think that's going to be it for now. We're gonna wrap it up, which is good. What are we looking forward to next week? James, what you got? Anything?
Just another episode of Loki.
Good.
That'll do for me.
Nice.
William, what about you?
So I am starting a summer job next week. So that's going to be a 10 to 5. So unfortunately, this is going to be my last podcast for a pretty good while. I mean, if you're willing to record at 7 your time in like September and onwards, then maybe then. But otherwise, it's probably looking like until January. But yeah,
well, we'll sort something out, William. We'll sort something out. We'll do something.
But yeah.
Good luck. Working for the man or the woman. Now I'm going to be playing. I might give Watch Dogs Legion Bloodline is DLC's coming out now. I've got the bloody the season pass that came with the review, so I think I better have a go at this season. Yeah. So I thought I might load it up again and have a crack at it, see if it gets better. Because I think what's the name is back from the first Watch Dogs, so I might give it a go. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Right, William, where can we find you if we want to talk to you?
You can find me on Twitter at William J. Caruana.
And James, what about you?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at OKUKL.
Good. And you can find me on Twitter and Twitch at GB Briley. But for now, gentlemen, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. You've been listening to the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. You can find all the notes of this show at www.TheXboxHub.com/podcast. You can also check out our social feeds on Instagram and Twitter at The Xbox Hub, and search for The Xbox Hub on Facebook.